good with y'all? Fully focused. Third video. Traffic is still OD heavy, so that's why you're gonna see the same attire, but it saves time and gives me more time to produce and edit my content. Hopefully we'll be leveling up and then upgrading the camera, getting off the phones. We'll still do some phone call videos eventually, but like I said, changing your life, improving content, YouTube. It's all about leveling up too. So people ask me some advice about investing, making something from nothing or very little. We'll talk about that, and we'll get some key pointers in, and maybe even some key stocks. It's 2021, so the craze that we are in is about cryptocurrency, right? Cryptocurrency is, especially within what just happened, I think El Salvador did not, about a disagreement with El Salvador and the central banks, and then other Central American countries have been following the path that El Salvador has. So now Bitcoin will be accepted within the world market. Central banks will have no sort of control over it because it's a decentralized currency. So i.e. I don't think it's government regulated. There's pros and cons to Bitcoin. The thing about Bitcoin is what mining is Bitcoin mining is when there is, I think, a computer software that solves advanced mathematical problems that can be solved by human hand in order to achieve the Bitcoin, right? So that's really how Bitcoin is made. Bitcoin then will equal the currency value, but that's where the centers are, the Bitcoin mining centers. They need these complex computers in order to solve these equations, right, in order to achieve a Bitcoin. How that works in particular, I don't know. I'm not really a software engineer. I know the basics, I know the understanding of it. But that's generally how Bitcoin is, and it can be compared to other cryptos as well, such as Ethereum or Dogecoin, right? So Bitcoin is something that you do want to invest. I personally believe that the basis of Bitcoin is pretty established. We've seen it throughout, especially when it started in 2016. That's where you see the jump of millionaires, right? It was at dollars for the stock or even pennies for the stock, and now it's jumped to tens of thousands of dollars. So that's where you're going to see profit as well. There may be, right now we're currently in it's June, so we're currently in a market descent or a market downplay, however you want to say it. But that's naturally occurring. So I think the best time to buy is whenever the market is down. Even when the market is up, you want to buy. I know you'll be able to do partial shares within Robinhood. Robinhood is a popular app. E-Trade is a popular app. Acorns, Coinbase, if you want to do for the cryptos. So they're popular apps to use for if you want to establish, your portfolio investment, diversify your portfolio investment apps, because you don't want to put all your chickens and all your eggs in one basket, however they say, I don't know. So that's one way when you're investing, acknowledge about cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency is the future. I do believe that it will replace the paper dollar. The paper dollar baseline that we use today, and it will take over within the future. Stuff that you see within TV, such as there's a Netflix called Altered Carbon, right? Or futuristic shows such as Star Wars, where they will use credits, holograms or whatever. These things, these futuristic foreign things that we wouldn't even imagine. It's actually becoming reality. It's not. There's always, even within TV, even if it's fiction, the human imagination is so unreal that it actually becomes reality. It's just that it takes due time in order to make that a reality. You know what I'm saying? So be aware of that, because I would invest it now, because you may not see it now, but you will see it in 10 or 15 years, because a lot of stocks is patience. Some stocks blow up, some stocks don't. That's something that you cannot control within yourself. But how the market plays and dynamic, yes, people do have influence. If people buy a certain stock or get a certain buy rate and then a low sell rate, or maybe a high hold rate, right, percentage. It all happens with that, but you can't control the stock market if it goes up or down. That's something that's ambiguous. You yourself, that's something that's arbitrary, random. So Bitcoin, cryptocurrency is something that you want to invest in. Understanding how the market works, the bull versus bear market, it's important to know actually some terminology. So pay attention to your economics class if you are, or maybe go onto YouTube too even if you missed out on it. There's always a good way to learn the terms, because it's important. Come on, my man. It's important to not go in with complete ignorance, right? So what else would you do? Renewable energy, oil, gas. That's something that's going to be changing. Especially, we're seeing these changes now. It's a constant change that within year by year progresses exponentially, that I think. Renewable energy is always, that's the future, right? Always what you want to think. You want to think the future. You want to think long term. There's going to be short term, prospects that you'll see, but long term, where do you see everybody's going? Everybody's going towards crypto, right? Everybody now is also going towards renewable energy, because why? Oil is finite, right? We dig it from the ground, right? We get crude oil from the bottom, and then what do? We put it in a separator, right? The separation process of what crude oil can get. You can get kerosene. You can get combustible oil that we use for gas, right? You can get water byproducts, all these types of side products that we use that then we can create. Crude oil creates a lot of stuff, and because it's finite, it is so finite within the world, and our population is getting bigger. Renewable energy is going to have to be, the way. Crude oil makes plastics. You can create plastics out of it. Something that I recommend is go on Google, search up what can you get out of crude oil, and you'll see all these products that we actually utilize today that we set in stone within past 100 to 200 years, where we expedited the usage exponentially to the point where we become way too dependent. Finding an alternative first would have been better, but we didn't really know much. We didn't know better back then, 50, 20 years ago compared to now. So it's always a constant improvement, right? So plug power or bloom energy, that's something that you want to maybe look into. Compare their buy, hold, and sell percentage rates, right? And then see what generally people are trying to do. See what the big names are trying to do. Elon Musk is investing, going back to crypto and Dogecoin, right? He's saying it's a gamble, right? Or it's a fluke, or it's a hoax or whatever, right? But there's always a reason behind everything. So there's something that he's not telling you. I don't have the answer for it, but getting that idea out there, thinking about it, then it's not from not just out of nowhere. Just because there's always a purpose, because now it's getting higher and higher and higher, and it'll eventually reach $1 soon, right? So renewable energy, crypto, cannabis is becoming legalized everywhere. The U.S. government made it legal because it is bringing millions, hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue back. You see the dispensaries, they charge so much, but because within the tax, that gives more money, because they know people would rather it being delegalized, right? Having legalized within the system, and then having, regulations, right? People are going to do it regardless. So making profit out of that, you have to think of it, the government thinks within a business mindset as well. Making a profit out of that on something that's was considered a gateway drug, even though it's one of the most accessible drugs throughout the world that you can get. So, within the logic standpoint, that's where the government takes that risk-benefit ratio into factor. And within the global market, is becoming globally accepted as well. It's going to be billions and billions and billions, potentially even trillions of dollars that you'll see circulating around the world market. And it's only getting bigger. So you may not see these companies blow up right now, but they're blowing up slowly, and you can see the progressions. If you check their stock prices a year ago to now, I can guarantee you it boosted up at least 3, 4, or 5-fold. That's something that I guarantee. And that's something that I can promise you that as well. So crypto, renewable energy, oil or gas. What was the last one? Cannabis. Those are 3 things that I personally feel are some things that you want to look into. Always, when you invest, don't worry if your stock prices go down. If you're losing money, it's natural. You know how many times I personally lost. I would lose $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 down. And then next thing you know, I'm up, maybe $50 from what I originally was that day. It's all arbitrary, right? You can't control the stock market. Just understand that, when you see a dip, it's naturally occurring, right? That, the weather, sometimes it gets cold. It's naturally occurring. You can't control that, right? So, but you do know that there's a trend where it'll constantly get better, constantly increase. Right? It doesn't go smooth linear progression. It could be stagnant, and then it moves up, down, arbitrary, like I said. So understand that within the market, investing, the portfolio income is something that you can utilize and help yourself, when you're leveling up. It only helps yourself because you're putting money down for yourself. And it can increase 10, 20 years from now, and you won't see it now, but your future self will say thank you to your current self, which will be your previous version, if that makes sense. But that's the video I have for today. These are the 3 stock types that, if you did not know, now you know. And that's something that you should invest in, no matter what people will say, because it is actually going to go up. I guarantee that. Anyways, y'all, deuces for the next video, and y'all be blessed. All right.